Media fact checker. Kangaroo Island Council proposes pet cat ban to eradicate feral cats and protect native wildlife. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Kangaroo Island Council is considering a last cat policy to ban new pet cats from being introduced to the island as part of a feral cat eradication effort. Mayor Michael Pengelly stated the council aims to rid Kangaroo Island of feral cats and not allow any more cats in. The Dudley Peninsula project on Kangaroo Island has removed 2,800 feral cats so far, leaving around 150 remaining. Feral cats on Kangaroo Island have predated over 50 native species, including the Kangaroo Island echidna and vulnerable penguin colonies. The federal government provided an additional $1.61 million to the project in December 2024, on top of over $3 million previously allocated. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC states Mayor Pengelly said the policy would likely be implemented in tandem with the state government, while Newscomau does not mention this coordination detail. ABC mentions the council's policy is not that far advanced and would take up to 30 years, but Newscomau does not specify the timeline or advancement stage. ABC includes a quote from Pengelly about the overwhelming majority of locals supporting the policy, while Newscomau does not mention public opinion or dissent. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. 2026 Six Nations Rugby Tournament Analysis and Player Selections. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Louis Bielbayari scored a try in every Six Nations game in successive seasons, 2025 and 2026, and became the first player to achieve this. Louis Bielbayari scored 18 tries in 14 games during the 2026 Six Nations, tying for fifth highest all-time in tournament history. Thomas Ramos of France was the top point scorer in 4 successive Six Nations championships and holds France's all-time points record. Rhys Carr scored a historic try against Ireland in the 2026 Six Nations, described as a poetry in motion moment by multiple sources. France won the 2026 Six Nations Championship, defeating England 48-46 in the final at Stade de France. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 repeatedly calls Louis Bielbayari the player of the tournament despite Article 2's best 15 ranking him at 11th place. Article 1 states England lost 4 games for the first time in a Six Nations campaign, but Article 2 does not mention this specific statistic. Article 1 describes the biggest surprise as England's poor performance against Ireland, while Article 2 does not highlight this as a surprise. This story was covered by The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Severe flooding and dam failure risks in Hawaii's northern Oahu and Maui due to extreme rainfall. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Thousands of residents ordered to evacuate in northern Oahu, with evacuation orders covering over 4,000 people, Guardian, ABC, and later updated to 5,500, Guardian. The Wahiawa Dam on Oahu is at risk of imminent failure with water actively running over its spillway at 1,500 gallons per second, Guardian, ABC. Halewa and Waialua on Oahu's North Shore experienced widespread life-threatening flash flooding, ABC, Guardian. A 120-year-old dam, Wahiawa, is under scrutiny, with officials warning of high hazard potential and probable loss of human life if it fails, ABC, Guardian. Heavy rainfall from Kona low winter storm systems caused 200 to 300 millimeters of rain overnight on Oahu, with Kala Peak receiving nearly 400 millimeters in a day, ABC, Guardian. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1, Guardian, states the evacuation order initially covered more than 4,000 people, while Article 3, Guardian, later updates this to 5,500 people. Article 1, Guardian, mentions the shelter at Waialua High School lost power early and had to evacuate itself, but Article 2, ABC, does not mention this detail. Article 1, Guardian, reports the dam was warned during heavy rain last week and water levels receded, while Article 3, Guardian, does not mention this specific receding event. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Nicola Olyslagers wins silver in women's high jump at 2024 World Indoor Championships. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Nicola Olyslagers finished in a three-way silver medal share in the women's high jump at the 2024 World Indoor Championships in Torun, Poland. Yaroslava Mahuchik won gold with a clearance of 2.01 meters, defeating Olyslagers and two other athletes. Olyslagers, Yulia Levchenko, Ukraine, and Angelina Topic, Serbia, all cleared 1.99 meters and shared silver. Olyslagers cleared 1.99 meters on her first attempt, equaling her indoor personal best. Eleanor Patterson, Australia, finished 7th with a clearance of 1.93 meters. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian reports Hayley Kitching's semi-final qualifying time as 2 minutes and 0.99 seconds, while ABC reports 2 minutes and 0.09 seconds. The Guardian mentions Eleanor Patterson suffered a couple of early failures and struggled to get over 1.93 m, while ABC does not provide this detail. The Guardian includes a direct quote from Peter Boll about his limited indoor experience. "I raced indoors just twice in my life before today," while ABC does not include this quote. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Pauline Hanson's One Nation surge benefiting Labour in Australian elections via electoral system dynamics. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Pauline Hanson stated it's just the start regarding One Nation's political momentum after the election. One Nation secured 20% of the national vote in the election. Liberal Party vote collapsed to 19% nationally during counting. Labour's vote remained stable at 39% despite right-wing fragmentation. Greens' vote increased to 11% nationally. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two articles as they are nearly identical in content. This story was covered by Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. NFL player Cam Skattebo's controversial denial of CTE and asthma legitimacy sparks backlash and apology. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Cam Skattebo, 24, is a running back for the New York Giants drafted in the 2025 NFL Draft, 4th round out of Arizona State. Skattebo's rookie season, 2025, ended early due to an ankle injury after 8 games with 410 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns. During the Bring the Juice podcast, Skattebo called chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE, an excuse and asthma fake. Skattebo later apologized on X, Twitter, for his lapse in judgment and clarified his remarks were a tasteless joke. CTE is a degenerative brain condition linked to repeated head trauma, with symptoms including memory loss, depression, and dementia. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 states Skattebo's apology included the phrase "I'll be more mindful and respectful going forward," while Article 2 does not mention this exact phrasing. Article 1 implies Skattebo's apology was posted on Saturday, but Article 2 does not specify the date of the apology. Article 1 highlights Skattebo's popularity with Giants fans in 2025, while Article 2 does not mention fan reception beyond his rookie performance stats. This story was covered by The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. BHP and Woodside Energy appoint new CEOs amid leadership transitions and financial details. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Brandon Craig will become BHP's CEO on July 1, 2025, succeeding Mike Henry, who held the role since 2020. Elizabeth Westcott was appointed Woodside Energy's permanent CEO and Managing Director in 2025, succeeding Meg O'Neill. BHP's Brandon Craig's base salary will be $1.9 million USD, 2.67 million Australian dollars, annually, with potential bonuses up to 3.6 times his base salary. Woodside's Elizabeth Westcott's fixed annual reward, FAR, is $2.3 million, including base salary, benefits, and performance-based bonuses. Brandon Craig previously served as BHP's President Americas, leading growth in copper and lithium production. But not all outlets told the same story. No contradictions found between the two sources for core factual claims. This story was covered by ABC News and news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Utah woman convicted of murdering husband via fentanyl poisoning and related financial crimes. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Caree Richins was convicted of aggravated murder in Utah on the 13th of March, 2024 for poisoning her husband Eric Richins with fentanyl in March 2022. Eric Richins died after consuming a cocktail containing 5 times the lethal dose of fentanyl administered by Caree Richins. Caree Richins was $4.5 million in debt and falsely believed she would inherit over $4 million from Eric's estate upon his death. Caree Richins was convicted of attempted murder for a Valentine's Day 2022 incident where she allegedly poisoned Eric with a fentanyl-laced sandwich that caused him to black out. Caree Richins was convicted of fraudulently claiming insurance benefits after Eric's death. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and SMH The Age do not mention whether Caree Richins' husband Eric had a history of opioid use, but the SMH's defense attorney claims Eric was addicted to painkillers while Caree told police he had no history of illicit drug use. The Guardian and SMH The Age do not specify whether Caree Richins' book *Are You With Me? Was ghostwritten, but the SMH explicitly states Summit County Sheriff's Detective Jeff O'Driscoll testified that Caree paid a ghostwriting company to write the book for her, not mentioned in Guardian. The Guardian and SMH The Age do not specify the exact amount of life insurance policies Caree opened without Eric's knowledge, but the Guardian states benefits totaling about $2 million while the SMH The Age state benefits totaling about $2 million US, consistent but not explicitly cross-verified in Guardian. This story was covered by The Guardian, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. 2 individuals arrested for attempting to enter UK's Farslane nuclear submarine base. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. 2 people, a 34-year-old Iranian man and a 31-year-old Romanian woman, were arrested after allegedly attempting to enter HM Naval Base Clyde, Farslane, in Scotland on the 19th of March, 2026 at around 5 p.m. local time. The base houses the UK's Trident nuclear submarines and is not open to the public. Police Scotland confirmed the arrests and stated inquiries were ongoing, with the pair due to appear in court. The Royal Navy confirmed the arrests but cited ongoing investigations as a reason for no further comment. Nematollah Shahsavani, 40, Iranian-British, and Olireza Farasati, 22, Iranian, were separately charged in London on the 19th of March, 2026 for hostile surveillance of Jewish sites. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian states the woman's nationality is Romanian, while ABC describes it as unknown. The Guardian calls the incident not particularly serious at this stage, while ABC omits this assessment entirely. ABC highlights MI5's warnings about Iranian plots but does not mention the Ministry of Defence's not serious framing. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Iran's closure threats and attacks on the Strait of Hormuz during US-Israel war. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. The Strait of Hormuz is a narrow waterway at the mouth of the Persian Gulf where 20% of the world's oil normally flows, connecting the Gulf to the Arabian Sea. Iran has threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz since the US and Israel launched military operations against Iran in early 2024, with Revolutionary Guard (IRGC) radios broadcasting a message forbidding navigation through the strait. Iran has attacked at least 20 vessels in confirmed incidents since March 1, 2024, including unmanned speedboats ramming ships like the US-owned Safe Sea Vishnu and Greek-owned Zephyros. Shipping through the Strait of Hormuz dropped dramatically from over 2,000 vessels in mid-February 2024 to just 166 vessels by early March 2024, according to marine traffic data. The strait's narrowest point is 30 kilometers wide, with two 3.2 kilometer wide shipping lanes confined between Iran, north, and Oman, south, each country having 12 nautical miles of territorial waters. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian does not mention Iran's explicit IRGC announcement forbidding navigation, while ABC explicitly reports this as a direct quote from Iranian radios. The Guardian focuses on economic pressure as the primary leverage Iran holds, while ABC emphasizes Iran's military and asymmetric warfare tactics, drones, missiles, as the core strategy. ABC states Iran's closure is a last resort due to its own oil exports, but The Guardian implies Iran is using it as a calculated move to force the US to reconsider the war. This story was covered by ABC News and The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Australian government response to fuel crisis amid Middle East conflict. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Anthony Albanese will chair a national cabinet meeting on Thursday, May 2, in Tasmania to coordinate fuel supply responses across states and territories. The federal government has released about 6 days' worth of petrol and 5 days' worth of diesel from its emergency stockpile as part of an internationally coordinated response to the Strait of Hormuz blockade. Fuel prices have risen sharply globally due to Iran's blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, which carries about 20% of the world's oil supply. The government temporarily lowered fuel standards to allow onshore refineries to redirect supplies into the local market, injecting an extra 100 million litres per month for 60 days. The US and Israel launched preemptive strikes on Iran late last month, triggering the current fuel supply disruptions. But not all outlets told the same story. ABC and Guardian both report the government has released emergency fuel reserves, but ABC specifies 6 days of petrol and 5 days of diesel, while Guardian only mentions nearly 1/5 of reserve petrol and diesel supplies without exact days. ABC states the government warned inflation could peak in the mid to high 4s, but Guardian does not mention this specific inflation forecast. ABC and Guardian both report the government temporarily lowered fuel standards, but ABC does not specify the exact volume injected, 100 million litres month, as Guardian does. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Prime Minister Albanese and Minister Burke heckled at Lokemba Mosque Eid event. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Anthony Albanese and Tony Burke attended Eid prayers at Lokemba Mosque in Sydney's West on Friday morning, 2024. Protesters at the mosque shouted phrases including genocide supporters, disgrace, and shame at Albanese and Burke. A 33-year-old man was removed from the mosque by police after being identified as a heckler and given a move-on direction. Gamal Kir, secretary of the Lebanese Muslim Association, delivered a statement defending the invitation of Albanese and Burke. Lebanese Health Ministry reports at least 912 deaths, including 111 children, and 2,221 wounded in Israel's strikes on Lebanon. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian reports Albanese made a hasty exit avoiding a crowd on the mosque steps, while the ABC states he and Burke remained until the end of the speech before being led out. The SMH claims initial plans included Albanese giving a speech, but The Guardian and ABC do not mention this. The ABC reports a heckler claimed Albanese was responsible for 1 billion deaths, while this exact figure is not mentioned in other sources. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, and Sydney Morning Herald. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Danish royals King Frederik and Queen Mary's 2024 Australian state visit and engagements. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. King Frederik X and Queen Mary arrived in Australia on Saturday, the 26th of October, 2024, for a 6-day state visit, the first Danish royal visit in 40 years. The royal couple's itinerary included stops in Central Australia, Uluru, Canberra, Melbourne, and Hobart, with engagements from the 26th of October to the 31st of October, 2024. Queen Mary was born in Tasmania, Tauranga suburb, and met King Frederik, then Crown Prince, at the Slip-In Bar in Sydney during the 2000 Olympics. They married in 2004. The royals visited the Australian War Memorial in Canberra on Monday, the 28th of October, where they laid a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier and paused at the Roll of Honour for Flying Officer Henry James Brock, Tasmanian-born, killed in 1944, and Flying Officer Geoffrey Herbert Brandon Slynn, killed over Denmark in 1944. On the 31st of October, the Danish royals held a public meet and greet in Hobart's Hunter Street, closed to traffic, with hundreds of Tasmanians expected to attend. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1, ABC, states the royals arrived in Melbourne on Tuesday, while Article 2, ABC, and Article 3, Newscamau, clarify they arrived on Saturday, the 26th of October, with Melbourne engagement starting on Tuesday, the 29th of October. Article 1, ABC, mentions the royals' last visit to Australia was in 2013, but Article 2, ABC, states their last official visit was in 2005, as Crown Prince and Princess, with private visits since then. Article 3, Newscamau, reports Queen Mary gave a speech on sustainable transformation in Melbourne, but no other source confirms this specific detail. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Kyle Sandilands contract termination and legal battle with ARN Media over the Kyle and Jackie O show. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Kyle Sandilands and Jackie O Henderson were suspended from the Kyle and Jackie O show on Kiss FM after an on-air argument on February 20, 2026, where Sandilands criticised Henderson's work ethic and fixation on horoscopes. ARN Media terminated Sandilands' $100 million contract and Henderson's $100 million contract on March 5, 2026, citing serious misconduct and breach of contract following the February 20 incident. The pair had signed a joint $200 million contract with ARN Media in 2024, which was set to run until 2034. The Australian Communications and Media Authority, ACMA, imposed additional license conditions on ARN Media on March 3, 2026, prohibiting strong sexual content in programs featuring Sandilands or Henderson for 5 years, due to repeated breaches of decency standards in 2025. Sandilands launched legal action against ARN Media in the federal court, claiming the termination was invalid and unconscionable under Australian consumer law. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian and ABC both report that Henderson denied quitting, but SMH initially reported that ARN said Henderson gave notice she could not continue working with Sandilands. The Guardian and ABC state that Henderson was deeply saddened by the show's potential end, while SMH does not mention her emotional state in its articles. ABC and The Guardian report that Henderson is considering legal action against ARN for wrongful termination, but SMH does not explicitly state this in its articles. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, Sydney Morning Herald and The Age. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Democrats impeach bid against Attorney General Pam Bondi over Epstein files briefing. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Pam Bondi, the Florida Attorney General, led a closed-door briefing on Jeffrey Epstein files on Wednesday, the 10th of April, 2024, at the U.S. Capitol. Democrats walked out of the briefing after less than an hour, calling it an outrageous fake hearing due to Bondi's refusal to testify under oath. The House Oversight Committee subpoenaed Bondi earlier this month, April 2024, to testify about the Justice Department's handling of Epstein investigation files. 5 Republicans joined Democrats in issuing the subpoena. California Congressman Robert Garcia labeled the briefing a fake hearing and accused Bondi of defying subpoenas and being evasive. Florida Congressman Maxwell Alejandro Frost repeatedly asked Bondi if she would testify under oath, to which she did not commit. Frost called her a liar and accused her of spying on Congress. But not all outlets told the same story. Article 1 mentions the FBI Director Kash Patel's testimony about buying location data on Americans, but Article 2 does not reference this detail. Article 1 lists multiple unrelated topics: Iran war, Trump's summit cancellation, Kent's resignation, and FBI location data, alongside the Bondi story, while Article 2 focuses solely on the Bondi briefing and impeachment bid. Article 1 states that the FBI Director Kash Patel testified under oath about buying location data on Americans at a Senate Intelligence Committee hearing, but Article 2 does not mention this hearing or Patel's testimony. This story was covered by The Guardian. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Leadership crisis and potential spill in Victorian Labour Party ahead of 2024 election. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Jacinta Allan is Victorian Premier and faces leadership spill speculation ahead of the November 2024 state election. Her net approval rating is -37%, Demos AU poll in Herald Sun, and 69% of coalition voters would direct preferences to One Nation over Labour, Redbridge survey for Australian Financial Review. Deputy Premier Ben Carroll, right faction, and Transport Infrastructure Minister Gabrielle Williams, left faction, are the most likely leadership contenders. Allan became Victorian Premier in September 2023 after succeeding Daniel Andrews. Labour's 2023 state election result was better than expected, temporarily easing leadership pressure on Allan. But not all outlets told the same story. The Guardian reports a grouping of socialist left MPs within the southeast are driving the push for a leadership change, but these MPs deny it. The Age says a factional chief offered the view that anyone other than Allan would lead the party to a better result, while ABC states no one has suggested anyone was counting numbers. The Guardian claims a push for a leadership change is underway with more than a dozen sources confirming it, but ABC says no one has approached ministers to canvass a change. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, news.com.au, and The Age. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis. Media Fact Checker. Sri Lanka and Asia's fuel crisis due to Iran-US-Israel war blocking Strait of Hormuz. All source articles are linked in the description below. Here's what every outlet agrees on. Sri Lanka introduced a 4-day work week for state institutions, schools, and universities starting Wednesday, local time, to conserve fuel, Newscamau, ABC, Guardian. Iran blocked the Strait of Hormuz on February 28, 2024, after US-Israeli airstrikes, cutting 20 to 25% of global oil supply and disrupting 80% of Asia's crude oil and LNG, Newscamau, ABC, Guardian. Sri Lanka's fuel rationing limits motorists to 15 litres of petrol diesel per week, with public transport allocated up to 200 litres, Newscamau, ABC, Guardian. Sri Lanka's petrol and diesel reserves will last nearly 6 weeks, but officials warn prolonged Middle East conflict could collapse recovery efforts post-2022 debt default, Newscamau, ABC, Guardian. President Anura Kumara Dissanayake urged private sector to adopt Wednesdays as holidays and civil servants to work from home, Newscamau, ABC, Guardian. But not all outlets told the same story. Newscamau states 80% of Asia's crude oil and LNG passes through the Strait of Hormuz, while ABC and Guardian cite 80% for crude oil only, not LNG. ABC reports Sri Lanka's fuel rationing limits motorbikes to 5 litres, but Newscamau and Guardian only mention 15 litres for cars, no motorbike specifics. Guardian claims Pakistan relies on 85% of its energy from the Strait of Hormuz, while Newscamau and ABC do not specify this exact percentage. This story was covered by ABC News, The Guardian, and news.com.au. Subscribe to Media Fact Checker for daily Australian news analysis.